Most people enter marriage completely unprepared for what it actually is. Not because they're stupid, not because they don't care, but because almost everything we're taught about marriage is built on fantasy instead of reality. We grow up hearing things like, find your soulmate. When it's true love, it should feel effortless. If you marry the right person, everything falls into place. And then reality hits. Because marriage is not two people freezing in time and living happily ever after. It's two imperfect human beings trying to build a life together while constantly changing as individuals. That's the part nobody prepares you for. You are making one of the biggest decisions of your life during the exact period when your emotions are at their loudest and your judgment is often at its weakest. In the beginning, attraction feels overwhelming. Your brain is flooded with chemicals convincing you this person is extraordinary. You overlook flaws, you ignore incompatibilities, you mistake intensity for stability. And then years later, many people wake up beside someone they barely understand anymore. So let's strip away the romantic nonsense for a minute and talk honestly about what marriage really is. At its core, marriage is a long-term partnership between two people agreeing to navigate life together. That's it. Everything else, the fairy tales, the perfect romance, the idea that love alone solves everything, those are cultural decorations added on top. Marriage does not guarantee happiness, it does not guarantee loyalty, it does not guarantee emotional fulfillment every day for the rest of your life. And believing those things is exactly why so many people struggle when real life begins. Because real marriage is not sustained by feelings alone. Feelings change. People change. Bodies change. Dreams change. Stress changes people. Pain changes people. Success changes people. And if two people are not intentionally growing together, they slowly begin drifting apart without even realizing it. One of the biggest truths nobody tells you is this. You are not marrying one version of a person. You are marrying multiple versions of them spread across decades. The person you fall in love with at 25 will not be the exact same person at 45. Life reshapes people. Some become softer. Some become harder. Some heal. Some become bitter. Some lose ambition. Others discover entirely new identities. A strong marriage survives because two people continue learning each other again and again over time. That takes effort. And effort is the word people conveniently leave out when talking about love. Another thing most people misunderstand is that marriage is actually three relationships happening at the same time. First, there's the friendship. This is the foundation most couples ignore until it disappears. Friendship is laughing together, enjoying each other's presence, talking about random things, wanting to spend time together even when life is stressful. When friendship dies, couples start feeling like roommates sharing bills and responsibilities. Second, there's the romantic relationship. This is intimacy, affection, desire, emotional closeness. Romance does not stay alive automatically. People think chemistry should maintain itself forever, but that's not how reality works. If two people stop dating each other emotionally, eventually the spark fades and resentment replaces attraction. And third, there's the partnership side of marriage, the business side nobody talks about enough. Money, responsibilities, parenting, household stress, decision-making, sacrifices. This is where many marriages quietly break down, because when one person feels overwhelmed while the other feels emotionally absent, resentment begins building slowly, in silence. And resentment is dangerous because it rarely explodes overnight. It accumulates quietly through repeated disappointment. That's why love alone is never enough. You can deeply love someone and still be completely incompatible with them. People underestimate compatibility because chemistry feels more exciting. But chemistry does not pay bills. Chemistry does not resolve conflict. Chemistry does not automatically create emotional maturity. Shared values matter far more in the long run. How do they handle stress? How do they communicate when angry? How do they view money, family, children, responsibility, loyalty? Those questions matter more than butterflies, because eventually the honeymoon phase ends and ordinary life begins. And ordinary life exposes everything. This is also why choosing a spouse is one of the most important decisions you will ever make. You are choosing the person who will influence your mental peace, your future children, your finances, your emotional stability, and possibly the quality of your entire life. Yet many people choose based almost entirely on emotion. They marry potential instead of reality. That is one of the biggest mistakes people make. Potential is seductive because it allows you to fall in love with who someone might become, instead of honestly accepting who they are today. Never build a marriage on hoped-for transformation. If someone's current character, habits, or values already create concern, marriage usually magnifies those problems instead of fixing them. Another uncomfortable truth is this: healthy marriages require skills. Real skills. Conflict resolution, emotional control, communication, accountability, compromise. Most people were never taught these things. So when problems appear, they attack each other instead of solving the issue together. They criticize. They shut down emotionally. They become defensive. They stop listening. And eventually, every conversation starts feeling like a battlefield. The couples who survive long-term are usually not the luckiest couples. They're the couples willing to learn. They learn how to argue without destroying each other emotionally. They learn how to apologize properly. They learn how to repair damage after disagreements instead of ego poisoning the relationship. And perhaps the biggest misconception of all, marriage does not magically make unhappy people happy. If someone is emotionally unstable, deeply insecure, selfish, directionless, or miserable before marriage, those issues usually become stronger after marriage, not weaker. Marriage amplifies who you already are. That's why self-work matters. A relationship cannot permanently carry someone who refuses to grow individually. Now let's talk honestly about why marriages actually collapse. Most people think divorce happens because of cheating or money problems, but those are usually symptoms of something deeper. Most marriages die slowly through emotional neglect. The flirting stops, the laughter disappears, conversations become purely transactional. Did you pay the bill? Who's picking up the kids? What time are you getting home? And over time, emotional distance grows wider and wider until two people barely recognize the connection they once had. The affair is often not the beginning of the collapse, it's the result of years of emotional disconnection that went ignored. That's why strong marriages are built through small daily habits: checking in emotionally, showing appreciation, making time for each other, resolving resentment early, protecting friendship. The healthiest couples continue choosing each other repeatedly, not just on the wedding day, but during stressful seasons, during failures, during exhaustion, during the moments when feelings temporarily fade, because commitment matters most when emotions become unstable. And if you're thinking about marriage someday, remember this: do not marry because you're lonely. Do not marry because society expects it. Do not marry because someone gives you temporary emotional highs. Marry because you found someone whose values, character, and vision for life genuinely align with yours. Someone you can build with peacefully. Someone you still respect once the excitement settles down. Because lasting marriage is not built on constant passion. It's built on trust, friendship, emotional safety, respect, adaptability, and two people continuing to choose each other as life changes them. And if this video connected with you, subscribe to the channel. This channel is for honest conversations most people avoid: relationships, psychology, emotional pain, self-awareness, and the uncomfortable truths about life that nobody explains properly. Also, share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Maybe a friend preparing for marriage, maybe someone struggling in a relationship, maybe someone who still believes love alone is enough. Sometimes one honest conversation can save people years of confusion, resentment, and heartbreak. And I really want to hear your thoughts in the comments. What's one truth about marriage or relationships you learned the hard way? Or what's something you wish somebody had warned you about earlier? Some of the most powerful insights come from people sharing real experiences. The truth is, marriage sounds simple when spoken about romantically, but in reality, it's one of the hardest partnerships two people can attempt. And the couples who succeed are usually the ones who stop chasing fantasy and start understanding reality. Because marriage is not sustained by perfect feelings. Feelings rise and fall. Life changes people. Attraction fluctuates. Stress tests everything.